Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Joining me today is a panel of guests as we kick off in what is already Water Safety Month, but this week is International Water Safety Week. And all this week, we are going to be focusing on water safety in so many different fashions. And we've got a great group here with us. We've got Haley Miller from Safe Kids organization here out of UW Hospital. We've got Karen Clay from Swim West, the owner, and Jenny Sutton as well from Swim West here. And so excited to have you all on today. And we're going to be talking just in general about swim safety. And Karen, I know this is something that you're very passionate about, and I'm so glad that I've got to meet and work with you already on some of this. But swim safety overall, why is it so important that we talk safety in the swim world?
Drowning is still the #1 cause of unintentional death in children ages 1 to 4. And so what we don't see in the statistics is the non-fatal drowning. So there's many more incidences that happen in our neighborhoods and in our state that aren't even talked about in those statistics. So drowning prevention, especially after the pandemic, is really, really important because people are doing staycations. And swimming pool purchases are up 200% in the state of Wisconsin. And actually, last year, you couldn't even buy a swimming pool. You couldn't buy a above ground one. You couldn't buy a little one. There was aftermarkets looking for them. And so that just shows me that people are around the water a lot. And they may not have done the education that they need to do to get that pool. They just wanted to have their children busy and doing things. And we were closed for easily 12 to 14 weeks for swimming lessons, and the whole state was closed for swimming lessons, which means that the children weren't getting to learn to swim that they needed to get in the public schools, the lakes, anywhere. And so now you have all these little pools out there, no one teaching drowning prevention, families that are overstressed because their kids are home all day, not going to school. And so that's why I think drowning prevention right now is so important to be talked about, to have those families start having the conversation and doing the research when they actually get these pools.
Absolutely. And we are focused on that this week. We're going to actually go inside talking about keeping it safe in your backyard. So I'm so excited to talk about that and share that piece coming up this week. Haley, on the Safe Kids side of things, Safe Kids provides a wide range of great safety tips. But overall, swim safety, what is the message from your guys' end?
Yeah, absolutely. So, being in a hospital, we want to keep our kiddos out. We want to keep them safe. So really that prevention is something that we really, really want to focus on. And it really starts with education. So really going off of what Karen had said, families have been cooped up for a long time. They want, to interact as a family. They want to get out. And in some situations, yeah, families are really stressed. And, how do you get kids out, get kids outside doing stuff? Of course, going to a pool, going into water is often sometimes that great solution. But however, with the pandemic, our minds are fogged, a lot has happened, and sometimes we really lose those educational pieces. So Safe Kids has a lot of great resources, and it really comes down to play of when you have those kids in the water, no matter how advanced they are as a swimmer, to really keep your eye on them. As families, we want to be out together, but we really need to limit any of those distractions, phones, books, whatever it may be. And keep our eyes on those kiddos. Drowning is often silent, and we think a lot of times we'll be able to hear it, but that's not always the case. So really making sure that, you have that safe environment for your kids and you're really keeping an eye on them.
Absolutely. Jenny, from your standpoint, and I don't know the total history of swimming and education that you've been a part of, but when you're teaching the younger kids, like what's the right age to really start talking about swim safety? Is it, what is that magic number?
There really isn't. We start swim safety in as low as our parent taught classes. All of our classes are based on a safety aspect when teaching the skills. And to families, that is a great addition to have to the classes. We will do a few times a year, we do a safety week where we teach the kids the importance of, wearing a life jacket, not jumping in the water after a friend. We talk about not going in after a parent or after someone that you see, or a ball or a toy. All of our cues and stuff that we have kids enter into the water are on 1, 2, 3 cues or waiting for a parent. And that we start as low as, 6 months old. Once they get to the 2, 3-year-old range where they understand a little bit more, we'll talk a little bit more about it, but everything is in a 1, 2, 3 cue and a wait until your instructor has you come into the water or a parent comes into the water. And that's to help in those situations where they are by a pool, a river, or a lake, so they don't just run right into it without, anyone's permission or without an adult knowing that someone has given them the okay to go in with them.
Yeah, and Karen got a chance to come out to one of your facilities and work with some of the instructors, all awesome. But the importance of just any type of safety that you could talk about, if you were a parent and you are going to take your kids to a pool, lake, whatever, what general safety things would you suggest to them? And is it something you should do every time you go to go swimming?
I would say for first the parents to remember that they are watching their children. Don't count on the lifeguards watching the pool. The parents need to watch their children. So put the phone down, put all of the distractions down. And if you're going to the pool, you're on. And when you're not on, make sure someone else that you're tagging someone else to be on. Most drownings happen when a parent is present or someone is present around. They're just not paying attention. The other thing that, if you want to be safe around the pool, is make sure your kids aren't running, or just running around and, being haphazard, pushing other children, that they're actually following the safety rules of the lifeguard. I know a lot of the pools were closed last year, so they were going to the lakes and the rivers, which I know we're talking about later, and so that water safety. But I would just say the biggest thing I would tell parents is to remember you are the water watcher for your children at any pool you are going to. Please do not count on that lifeguard to always watch your child, because they're watching a very big area, a very big zone, and they're watching the pool. So I know it's hard to say that, it's weird to think that way, but that's my biggest concern with parents. They think they just come and just drop them off.
Yeah, and I could see it happening that way just easily, because you do it with other events. So associated with other events, it could work to that way. Finally, Haley, from Safe Kids standpoint, what resources can you provide parents from Safe Kids? You have the safety belt checks. I think of the safety checks on the car seats, everything. But is there something in water safety that you folks can offer?
Yeah, absolutely. So Safe Kids Worldwide has a ton of resources online. And they're really just kind of tips to keep, things refreshed when you are out in that water. So, want to be aware of your environment. So if you do have an inflatable pool, making sure you have something around it, such as a fence if possible, or when that pool is not in use, making sure you're draining that water. Kids are curious, they want to do things and you might not always see it. So making sure that, that is a safe environment all times. And then really, what Karen said, making sure you are, checking your surroundings so your kids aren't, pushing each other, running. And then two, in any water, if a kiddo needs a life jacket, making sure that that fits properly and that it is safe to be used.
All right. Well, I hate to cap it here, but we've got a whole week to talk about water safety. So excited for that. Thank you all so much for doing this, setting this up. It's a great partnership here, and look forward to talking to you all later this week.
Thanks, Jeremy.
All right. We'll take a quick break again. All this week, we're talking water safety, different tips, and we've got the greatest panel that I know. So we'll talk with them a little bit later. Take a quick break. More to come. You're watching Talking Fitchburg.